Chapter 208, Zhang Tiangui, the Seventh Prince. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. Hu Minggong nodded his head and said, I'll have someone to check. I must know the identity of the mysterious teenager who has the ability to control the power of space. Hu Minggong looked at Hu Qingshan with appreciation in his eyes. Although Hu Qingshan was a bit of a rebel, Hu Minggong was quite satisfied that his only son was not only extremely talented, but also extraordinarily intelligent. For those incredible prodigies, weren't they all rebels? In the black market, no one could truly be a hero if he was not sinister and rebellious enough. He has become quite a celebrity among the 36 commanderies in the Omen Ridge. Despite the fact that he is no older than 30 now, he can definitely be counted as a top prodigy among the younger generation. Someday when his cultivation reaches the heaven realm, he will be a legendary figure in martial arts. Hu Minggong thought to himself, with his previous anger flung to the four winds. All of a sudden, Hu Minggong said with a serious look on his face, quickly search for Commandery Princess Yanshan and that mysterious teenager. If we can't find them within 3 days, we will leave for Yunwu City and make a new plan. Hu Qingshan hummed coldly and said, we have the Red Spider vessel. Even if masters from Cayenne Yui Commandery, the School of the Martial Market and Yunwu Commandery come here, we will not fear them. The reason why the black market got its name is that we can hide in the dark so that the power of the School of the Martial Market and the official power cannot beat us. But now the Earthblaze City has exposed itself, which will certainly render it a target attacked by all parties. When Cayenne Yui Commandery is involved, even the Red Spider vessel cannot protect us, said Hu Minggong. Despite of his arrogance, Hu Qingshan knew how to judge the situation. Thus he nodded his head and said, all right, we should spare no efforts to find them in 3 days. If we can't find them, we must go back to Yunwu City then. Hu Minggong said, Yunwu City is the final battle stage. Top masters from both the School of the Martial Market and Moon Worship Demonic Sect will gather there. If we go back to Yunwu City, the Moon Worship Demonic Sect will naturally share our burdens. In the following 3 days, the Tarantula Chamber of Commerce sent out all its warriors to search for Zhang Yuochen and Huang Yanshan in the Earthblaze City. But they found nothing. On the other hand, the news came that Yunwu Commandery Prince had dispatched 80,000 soldiers led by Wan Chengchong, the head of the troops, to the Earthblaze City. It looked as if they were going to invade the city. Ordered by the elders of the school, the first master among the internal academy of the School of the Martial Market, Xingkong, also left the Devil Martial City and reached Yunwu Commandery with the Half-Saint's Blood Book. The destination of his travels was the Earthblaze City as well. Xingkong was a master on the list of the Earth Board. As a representative of the younger generation, his power ranked first in the 36 commanderies of the Omen Ridge. He had even managed to kill warriors in the Heaven Realm. This time, since he brought the Half-Saint's Blood Book, it looked as though he meant to use it to repress the Red Spider vessel. Although he had the reputation as the top prodigy in the 36 commanderies of the Omen Ridge, the 7th Prince of Yunwu Commandery Zhang Tiangui was still too young to be able to match Xingkong in strength. Meanwhile, 2 legends of martial arts in the Heaven Realm from Cayenne Yui Commandery also came to the Earthblaze City with 9-class genuine martial arms. Threatened by all these parties, Hu Minggong and Hu Qingshan had to flee from the Earthblaze City with the Red Spider vessel. In the forest, a troop of generals and soldiers in armor rode their horses to the lakeside of the fog-hidden lake. The leaves had all fallen and the flying birds disappeared in the winter days. The only sound that could be heard was that from those heavy iron heels. Wan Chengchong, wearing red armor, rode on an armored beast 10 meters high. He gazed across the fog-filled lake with thunder in his eyes and awed all with his presence. General, the Red Spider vessel has driven out of the fog-hidden lake. It looks like Hu Minggong wants to flee. Should we chase after them or not? A spirited soldier reported. Wan Chengchong shook his head and said, what Hu Minggong is driving is the Red Spider vessel. If they want to run away we will be unable to stop them. However, as the School of the Martial Market and Cayenne Yui Commandery are both rushing to finish him, it will, of course, not be easy for him to get away. Then what's our purpose for coming to the Earthblaze City? The soldier asked. Wan Chengchong replied, now that Hu Minggong has fled, Other parties from the black market will escape from the Earthblaze City as well. Our mission is to catch the heretics from the black markets in the Earthblaze City in one fell swoop. None of them can escape our grasp. That is the only way the Commandery Prince can satisfy the Tiangui Commandery. Or if Commandery Princess Yanjin is caught by the black market in the territory of Yanwu Commandery, we cannot shoulder this responsibility. I see, replied Hanku. Wan Chengchong said with a solemn look, what I wish now is that Commandery Princess Yanjin is still safe. I cannot bear to think about the consequences. Hasn't Commandery Princess Yanjin already been saved by someone? The soldier asked. Wan Chengchong glared at him and said, who has personally seen that? It is only when Commandery Princess Yanjin is found that we can make sure she is free from danger. Boom. A soldier who had reached the Black Realm by horse stopped about 30 meters away. He leapt off the horse, went to Wan Chengchong and got down on one knee. Commander, the seventh prince has arrived, he reported. The seventh prince? With seriousness in his eyes, Wan Chengchong said, hasn't the seventh prince secluding himself for refining in the Yuntai Suzerain? Why did he come here so suddenly? Where is he now? Linayu town. The soldier answered, everything here is up to you now. Any heretics from the black market of the Earthblaze City who escape from the fog-hidden lake should be killed without exception. There was a grim look on Wan Chengchong's face. Even though he did not know the reason why the seventh prince had suddenly come back, he must go and greet him at once. Wan Chengchong came to the Linayu town and saw the seventh prince very quickly. Zhang Tiangui, the seventh prince, stood at the entrance of the town with his hands crossed behind him. He looked about 20 years old, wearing a purple robe. He had bright eyes with graceful eyebrows and a tall and straight figure. Even such a casual stance could have great presence. The soldiers around him could hardly bear the pressure from him. All of them kneeled on the ground and feared to raise their heads. No wonder he is the top prodigy among the 36 commanderies in the Omen Ridge. Even I feel a bit pressured around him. How has he been able to reach such a high level within such a short period of time? Wan Chengchong stared at Zhang Tiangui from a distance, and then went to his side. He greeted Zhang Tiangui with left palm on right fist and said, greetings, seventh prince. Zhang Tiangui immediately greeted him as well. He held up Wan Chengchong's hands and smiled warmly at him. Uncle Wan, you're a legend of martial arts in the Heaven Realm. And you're also my father's man. My father will certainly never forgive me when I get back to Yanwu City if he finds out you knelt in front of me. Wan Chengchong stood up and looked again at Zhang Tiangui, only to find that he was already 10 steps away from him. He was a bit astonished and said, with his present martial cultivation, the seventh prince can even be enrolled into the Earthboard. All those powerful warriors on the Earthboard had the strength to fight against the legends of martial arts in the Heaven Realm. One must know that Zhang Tiangui was just over 20 years old. It would be breaking news if he entered into the Earthboard at such a young age. Zhang Tiangui laughed and said, indeed I've entered into the Earthboard, but I still have a long way to go compared with Uncle Wan. Why have you come to Linayu town, seventh prince? Wan Chengchong asked seriously. Zhang Tiangui answered, I heard that the fiancé of my ninth brother was caught in Linayu town by the heretics from the black market and imprisoned in the Earthblaze City. I was quite worried. So I ended my seclusion and came here to help my ninth brother save his fiancé. However, when I reached Linayu town, I heard that the Commandery Princess Yanjin had already been saved by someone else. How fortunate. The heretics from the black market are arrogant enough that they dared to imprison the fiancé of Prince. If we don't beat them severely, how can the royal family keep their dignity? Uncle Wan, you must catch those evil warriors this time and avenge my ninth brother. If you ever need me, I will follow your orders. Wan Chengchong knew clearly that the seventh prince didn't have a good relationship with the ninth prince at all. How could he end his secluding only for the purpose of saving the Commandery Princess Yanjin? Suddenly, Zhang Tiangui said, next month will be the ceremony of worship. It is said that my dad is going to designate the prince on it. Do you know something about it, Uncle Wan? Wan Chengchong realized the reason why Zhang Tiangui returned to Yanwu Commandery. His aim was the title of the prince. Top geniuses like Zhang Tiangui would by no means stay in Yanwu Commandery in the future. Nevertheless, the title of Crown Prince of Yanwu Commandery was important. as the crown prince could succeed the Baron of Yunwu Commandery. Even if the Commandery prince was an inferior class or a medium class, or even a superior class, they could only get their identities from a Baron of Empress Kaiyao of the First Central Empire. Once they got their identities as a Baron, a lot of advantages would be given to them, and much more convenience in the practice of martial arts would be provided for them. Therefore, what Zhang Tiangui really cared about was the title of Baron, instead of the position as Yunwu Commandery Prince. Had things been as they were before, the Crown Prince of Yunwu Commandery would no doubt be Zhang Tiangui. But there suddenly came the ninth prince, Zhang Yuochen, who was even supported by Cayenne's Yui Commandery. Then it's hard to say who would get the title of the prince in the end. Did Zhang Tiangui come to the Earth Blaze City so urgently only to save Commandery Princess Yanjun? Of course not. If Wan Shengchong guessed it correctly, Zhang Tiangui came here actually to assassinate Commandery Princess Yanjun. If Commandery Princess Yanjun died, Zhang Yuochen would naturally lose the support from Cayenne's Yui Commandery. At that time, how could he contend for the title of Crown Prince? The Commandery Prince is going to designate the Crown Prince? I didn't hear about that. Wan Shengchong shook his head and said, the black market, moon worship demonic sect and the school of the martial market are now bothering the Yunwu Commandery. All the Commandery Prince's efforts are concentrated on solving the problem. He can't designate the Crown Prince at such a time. I was just asking out of curiosity, why are you so nervous? Zhang Tiangui smiled and said, now that Commandery Princess Yanjun has been rescued, I'm just wondering where she is now and whether she is safe or not. We're not sure. Probably she is still trapped in the Earth Blaze City. Wan Shengchong said. We're not sure. She is probably still trapped in the Earth Blaze City. Wan Shengchong said. Zhang Tiangui farewelled Wan Shengchong with left palm on right fist. Then he left Linayu town towards the direction of Fog Hidden Lake with two junior fellow apprentices from Yuntai Suzerain.